What was supposed to be a routine committee hearing slowly transformed into a moment no one inside the chamber expected as lawmakers shuffled papers, cameras rolled quietly, and staff whispered behind the dais, creating the kind of political atmosphere that usually fades from public memory before the evening news cycle even begins. But everything shifted when Jasmine Crockett leaned toward her microphone and calmly stated that she needed clarification, not raising her voice or interrupting anyone, yet immediately changing the tone of the room because her request sounded simple, almost procedural at first, but quickly revealed itself as a demand for accountability, causing subtle reactions across the aisle as some lawmakers adjusted in their seats, others avoided eye contact, and a few exchanged knowing glances since clarification on the official record can expose contradictions that political messaging often hides, and Crockett moved deliberately, breaking the issue into small, precise questions, asking if the claims being presented could be clearly explained step by step, forcing the witness to respond cautiously with carefully chosen words that sounded measured but slightly defensive, while Crockett listened without interruption, allowing the explanation to stretch long enough for every detail to be heard before calmly responding that the answer still failed to address the central concern, drawing attention across the room as staff paused their typing and the chair leaned forward slightly, sensing the tension building because the hearing had shifted from prepared statements to direct accountability, prompting Crockett to restate her question in plain, everyday language, stripping away legal complexity and political framing as she asked why certain outcomes occurred if the policy truly functioned as described, leading the witness to respond with a longer, more technical explanation filled with procedural references and background context that appeared thorough but failed to resolve the underlying issue, while Crockett nodded thoughtfully before pausing again, creating a silence that made the room feel smaller and the pressure more intense, then calmly attempting the question again, showing patience rather than aggression, which gradually shifted the power dynamic as lawmakers began sitting straighter and paying closer attention, realizing that the pace of the hearing was now being controlled by the person asking questions rather than the one delivering answers, and Crockett leaned forward once more to connect the timeline of events, the decision-making process, and the resulting consequences in a logical sequence that was nearly impossible to misunderstand before asking how those steps could have led to the documented results, prompting another lengthy response from the witness filled with procedural language that sounded confident but lacked clarity, leading to the pivotal moment when Crockett stated evenly that she was not asking about theoretical processes but about what actually happened, a statement that shifted the atmosphere instantly by cutting through technical explanations without accusation or insult, causing visible discomfort as the witness attempted to redirect but found the explanation becoming repetitive and less convincing while Crockett remained silent, allowing the contrast between clarity and evasion to speak for itself. Transforming the hearing from political performance into genuine oversight, and after a brief pause she summarized the witness's statements in a short, clear sentence before repeating the question in a way that left no room for misinterpretation, resulting in a longer hesitation as papers shuffled and the room remained unusually quiet before the witness delivered a shorter, more cautious answer that suggested the situation was less certain than previously presented, prompting Crockett to simply nod without celebration or dramatic reaction, because her goal was not to win an argument but to secure a clear answer on the record, a professional approach that left some lawmakers quietly taking notes while others avoided looking in her direction. And although the hearing continued with new speakers, the atmosphere had permanently changed as Crockett had slowed the discussion and forced clarity within a system often dominated by fast talking points and extended speeches, demonstrating how complex political explanations can be tested by straightforward logic. And as clips of the exchange later circulated online, viewers recognized that the moment gained attention not through shouting or theatrical confrontation but through discipline, repetition, and calm insistence on truth, highlighting how most political hearings revolve around performance while this exchange emphasized precision, ultimately leaving the official record clearer than before and reminding observers that effective oversight often comes from asking questions so carefully and persistently that they cannot be avoided, showing that influence in politics is not always created through dramatic statements but through steady focus, logical questioning, and the refusal to allow confusion or incomplete explanations to stand, which is why the moment resonated beyond the hearing room, demonstrating how accountability can emerge through patience and clarity rather than conflict, leaving lawmakers, viewers, and commentators reflecting on the power of deliberate questioning and how a single calm exchange can reshape the direction of an entire public discussion while reinforcing the idea that truth in government oversight often depends on someone willing to slow the conversation down until the facts become impossible to ignore.